Good day to Sir Sharizan. We are from Group Sparkling. Here to present a presentation of article review. Next slide. Okay, let us introduce ourselves. Me, myself, Devi Anisha, Aishwari, Sarmala, Kirtana Devi, and also Priya Darshini. Next slide.
Good day, sir. My name is Sarmala, and I'm going to present on overall introduction. Firstly, reading and writing skills are the most basic language skills, especially in learning English. As both skills are basic for English, the Ministry of Education does include these skills in SPM and also MUET, so the learners in Malaysia could master these skills. This assignment is based on 3 article reviews that were chosen based on key points, reading and writing. We wanted to have a clear view ongoing the understanding of several articles mentioning these skills and also under Malaysian scope as well. Next slide, please. The first article is based on student teachers' experience in developing oral history texts for the teaching of reading in a Form 2 ESL classroom. The authors are as below: year of publication 2019, publisher Global Academic Excellence, GAE. Next slide, please.
The type of research is a qualitative research. It involves 30 TESOL student teachers who wrote the oral history texts. They were interviewed using various instruments such as reflective journal, instrument analysis, and also interviews.
So for the background of the study is, for the first article, the roadmap to upskill teachers to use the Common European Framework of Reference for Language CEFR was produced by the English Language Standards and Quality Council. This will enable them to see themselves represented in a language that will become a less foreign and eventually feel a sense of ownership of the language. Next slide.
Moving on to the problem statement, Rosberg 1979 in Thomilson 2018 specified that textbooks focus too much on different reading, which entails students to recall facts and information at the expense of aesthetic reading, and do little to promote both enjoyment of the language and acquisition of it. Furthermore, more course materials are preventing learners from achieving effective engagement by presenting them with bland and safe text. Next slide, please.
The objective of the study. So the objective of the study is to introduce the authentic usage of English through composing oral history texts, and also to encourage student teachers to create more commercial readings. Text means we are not focusing on the international products textbooks like that. We are focusing more on local textbooks, something and new resources, which enables the students to think creatively and also critically.
Further literature review of Article 1. As we can see that according to Rosenberg, he said that a reader performed 2 categories of reading, afferent and aesthetic. Different reading is reading to take away particular bits of information. So it's the reader's attention is focused primarily on what will remain as a residue after the reading, the information to be acquired. Not only that, language material critics on professionally and also commercially developed in ELT materials, because these workbooks were often written for the benefit of the teacher and take a little consideration for students' effort in reading, which entails students recording facts and information. Next slide. Good day, sir. Next, I'll be presenting about the methodology for Journal 1, which is a qualitative research, which is relevant since the researchers wanted to get a better and more in-depth comprehension of the student-teacher's experience when creating oral school textbooks for Form 2 ESL reading lessons. And also throughout the classroom observations, Students were required to keep a personal reflective notebook in which they recorded what they had learned and the difficulties they encountered during the processes to learn more and better. Next will be the individual interviews were conducted with student instructors to learn more about their experiences, generating oral history texts for reading instruction in an ESL classroom for better understanding. Next.
All right, so for the findings, writing skills are divided into 3 stages, which are pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing. Implementation stage is also being applied in these findings. So it is done to test the mastery level of students. So in this research, the students' teachers implemented the reading lesson in 2 schools, which are Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Puchong Jadin and also Pusat Bandar Puchong. So the teachers received both positive and negative feedback, which helped them to improve their oral history text. So facial expressions are also taken into consideration. Next slide, please. All right, so for the critical discussion, the teachers have to come to a realization on aspects to consider in producing oral history text, especially in writing. So micro teaching makes the student teachers to understand and conduct a class in a better way. In addition, putting theories into practice, this also helps student teachers to separate type of questions and ways of writing suitable text for students. Next slide.
Regarding the reviewer's critical voice, it is better to comprehend of reading principles and method development is crucial in an ESL environment for better understanding and learning in future. Next.
The recommendation, the co-curriculum planners and developers should come with more creative learning materials.
Moving on to the next article, the title is A Review on Impact of Blended Learning on the English Writing Skills. The authors are as below. Year of publication 2020. The publisher is Innovation Teaching and Learning Journal. Next slide, please.
The type of research is all, the research consists of all 3 designs of methods, which is mixed methods, quantitative and also qualitative. This is because 25 studies were actually related, which is related to impact of blended learning, was studied by the EFL students based on the writing skills.
Moving on to the problem statement, Adas and Bakir 2013 stated that English as second language, which is ESL and EFL student face problem in communicating their ideas effectively because of lack of creativity and sufficient knowledge in English, writing skills, and writing becomes much more complicated for them. Additionally, Meller and Noor 2011 specified that ESL and EFL students performs in English language skills has been unsatisfactory over the years. Next slide, please.
Regarding the objectives of the study, this research is to actually requires writers to make compositions involving content, organization, structure, and mechanics appropriately to convey learning to writing simultaneously, and also to actually enable the students to become a skillful writers. Because nowadays we can see a lot of students facing problems, especially when it comes to writing, since students mainly they are lazy to write actually. Yeah.
So for the literature review part for the second article, writing skill is considered as an essential part of everybody's life in business, in creativity, and in scholarly activities, according to Keshta in 2013. So this teaching approach combines the advantage of face-to-face and also learning to suit individual differences according to Bersin and Associate in 2003, which is a flexible, accessible, and so meaningful way of teaching and learning, according to SEFNA and also Kepler in 2015. Next slide. Based on the methodology for Journal 2 is about the researchers look for publication in 4 different journal databases, which is Web of Science, Springer, ERIC, and Science ERIC, as well as Google's Scholar Index. The term of effect of blended learning on the writing skills of ESL or EFL learners was used in the search. And also the abstracts of journals were combed through to locate related university levels studies in ESL or EFL writing. And also 349 publications were acquired from 4 databases with 25 articles being chosen based on the criteria and is included in the present study. Next.
So for the findings, blended learning is a revolution in EFL teaching and learning. However, it is proven through the research that the students face many challenges, especially when it comes to writing skills. Blended learning makes the mode of learning to be student-centered. So this makes the learning more interesting through collaborative tasks and experiments and peer activities. Next slide. So for the critical discussion, blended learning is absolutely excellent for the students to be practiced in the 21st century. However, the proficiency level of the students should be considered. This is because blended learning is a very broad area where everything is expected to be in a perfect way. Students are given motivation and also positive psychological atmosphere. Next slide.
Regarding reviewers' critical voice for Journal 2 is about the blended learning promotes flexible teaching and learning environments, which result in considerable improvements for better learning and teaching.
On to the recommendation, what we would like to recommend is more articles should have been reviewed instead of just 25 articles, because we can then we can get a lot of opinions from other students on what they feel about writing skills.
For the last article, the title is Academic Reading and Writing Challenges Among International EFL Master Students in a Malaysian University. The voice of lecturers. The authors are as below, and the year of publication is 2019. Publisher is Open Journal in Education, which is OJED. Next slide, please.
This type of research is a qualitative research where this research investigates the academic reading and writing challenges faced by international English as a foreign language master student. In addition, 16 lecturers from various graduate programs were interviewed to discuss what types of challenges were actually faced by the students.
As for the background of the study for this last article, this setback contribute to international EFL master students facing their hardship with the English language, especially with the academic writing and reading practices in Malaysia at the master's level. So in line with the aim, the investigation involved analysis of lecturer views on the challenge faced by international EFL master students in their academic writing and also reading practices at the Malaysian University. Next.
Next, the problem statement for Article 3. The first one is the use of the English language as the MOI also has its disadvantage, especially for EFL students. These students mainly are from Arab countries. China and Thailand were previously exposed to academic discourse primarily in their native language. Manjit 2015-2017 stated that international EFL master students are facing hardship with the English language, especially with academic writing and reading practices in Malaysia at the master's level. Next slide, please.
Coming to the objectives of the study, where we are actually investigating the issues, the academic issues regarding reading and writing skills faced by international English as foreign language master student at a Malaysian university from the perspective of instructors. Moreover, we are focusing on the challenges from the perspective of the stakeholders, such as lecturers who teach international EFL master students, and to investigate what are the main or significant issues affecting international EFL master students' academic performances.
So moving on to the editorial review of the last article. English is the medium of the international academic communication. International master students in Malaysia University experience difficulty and challenges in their academic writing and reading practices because English is their not native country, and also exposure to English is extremely minimal or non-existent. Next slide. Next, moving on to the methodology for the last article. The purpose of this study was to see if there was a gap between foreign EFL master's student experience of academia reading and writing practices and the lecturers who taught them during the period. And also about the one-on-one interview was conducted using purposeful sampling, which is with the 16 professors were conducted in order to obtain a better understanding of the academic writing of foreign EFL master students in order to become more knowledgeable and insightful about the issue. And also they use thematic analysis, a qualitative analytical method for discovering, interpreting, and access to better information, which is the themes within data was used to put the data in order to find a better understanding. Next.
So there are lots of challenges faced by students when it comes to academic writing and also reading practices. So when it comes to academic writing, students begin to face challenges as there is lack of English language proficiency. So as a result, they find it hard to express ideas, and this makes them to plagiarize. Next slide. So long-term action must be familiarized among the students. This helps them to polish their skills in advance. So for instance, proofreading and editing. As educators, lecturers should prepare the students by giving appropriate training to boost up their confidence level when it comes to writing and reading practices.
Regarding the reviewer's critical voice for the last article, it specifically assists the international EFL master student community in order to learn and find out new things. Next.
What we recommend from the research is, instead of just focusing on one Malaysian university, this research would be more interesting if we focus on more than one Malaysian university.
So as for the conclusion, critical thinking abilities are essential for pupils to have a deeper comprehension of any subject, establish their own perspective. Not only that, developing our communication ability goes in hand. The further we read and write, the larger our vocabulary becomes and the more accurately and also effectively. So next slide. That's all from us. Thank you.